The auditorium buzzed with restless noise, teenagers whispering, parents shifting in their seats, phones lifted just in case something embarrassing or brilliant happened. Backstage, Olivia Brooks stood alone. She was 14, slim, dark. Her hands clenched so tightly her nails pressed crescents into her palms. Her choir stood a few feet away, whispering nervously. They were supposed to sing together. They'd practiced for weeks, but now everything had changed. On stage under the blazing lights stood Victor Hole, a legend, a Grammy-winning singer whose voice once sold out arenas and made people cry from the first note. Now he sat on a tall stool, microphone in hand, leaning back with an easy confidence that came from decades of applause. He smiled, but it wasn't kind. So Victor said into the mic, his voice smooth, almost amused. I've been told this choir has a standout. The audience chuckled lightly. Olivia felt her stomach drop. Victor glanced down at the paper in his hand. Olivia Brooks, is that right? She swallowed and nodded, though he couldn't see her from backstage. I think Victor continued. We'll do something a little different. The choir director stiffened. Sir, they're prepared to sing together? Victor raised a hand. Relax. This is a learning moment. The word learning dripped with condescension. He leaned forward, eyes scanning the choir until they landed on Olivia. You, the girl in the back, stepped forward. Olivia's heart slammed against her ribs. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But hear what you can do, Victor said lightly. No choir, no hiding. Just you. A few people laughed, unsure. Olivia's knees trembled as she walked onto the stage. The lights were blinding. The silence felt heavy, almost cruel. Victor tilted his head. You nervous? Yes, sir, she whispered. He smiled wider. Good. Pressure builds character. He turned to the band. Give her the key of C simple. Let's not get ambitious. The implications stung. Olivia stood at the center of the stage, alone, feeling smaller than she ever had in her life. She could hear someone in the audience whisper, "This is messed up." Victor crossed his arms. Whenever you're ready. Olivia closed her eyes. For a split second, she wanted to run, to disappear into the floor, to let her fear win. Then she thought of her mother, working double shifts and still sitting front row. Hands clasped, eyes full of hope. She thought of her grandmother, who used to hum gospel songs while braiding her hair, saying, "Baby, your voice is a gift. Don't let anyone make you believe it's small." Olivia took a breath and sang. The first note was soft, pure, controlled. The room stilled. The second note climbed higher, warm and steady, filling the space like sunlight breaking through clouds. People leaned forward. Victor's smile faltered just a fraction. Olivia's voice didn't shake. It grew, each note layered with emotion, pain, hope, and something deeper, truth. She moved effortlessly through the melody. Then, without warning, modulated upward. The key changed. Victor's eyebrows shot up. She wasn't supposed to do that. The band scrambled to follow, eyes wide. Olivia didn't look at them. She didn't look at Victor. She sang like she had something to prove, not to him, but to herself. Then she went higher, and higher. Notes so clean, so powerful, they seemed impossible, coming from someone so young. Notes Victor Hole hadn't hit live in years. Notes he avoided now, rearranging songs to stay comfortable. Gasps filled the auditorium. A woman covered her mouth. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Olivia reached the climax of the song and held a note, long, soaring, unwavering. Victor leaned forward, stunned. The note rang out, flawless. Then she released it gently, like setting something precious down. Silence, heavy, electric. For a moment, no one breathed. Then the room exploded. Applause thundered from every corner. People stood, clapping, shouting, some with tears streaming down their faces. Olivia opened her eyes. Shocked, she hadn't even realized she was crying. Victor stood slowly. The applause continued, louder, more insistent. He walked toward her. Microphone lowered, expression unreadable. A crowd quieted. Sensing something important, Victor stopped a few feet from her. "You changed the key," he said. Olivia nodded nervously. "Yes, sir, I'm sorry if that wasn't okay." He shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "It was more than okay." He hesitated, then sighed deep and human. "I thought I was teaching you a lesson," Victor said, his voice carrying through the hall. "But it seems you taught me one instead." The audience murmured, "Dut." He turned to face them. "I've spent years protecting what I used to be," he admitted. "Tonight, I was reminded of what I'm not anymore." He looked back at Olivia's eyes, shining a hit. "Notes I don't hit," he said plainly. "Not because you're reckless, but because you're fearless." Olivia's breath caught. Victor extended his hand. "I owe you an apology," he said, "for underestimating you, for putting you on the spot for the wrong reasons." The room fell silent again. "I'm sorry," he said sincerely. Olivia shook his hand, her own still trembling. "It's okay," she whispered. Victor smiled, softer this time. "No, it's important." He turned to the choir director. "Make sure she never sings alone again unless she chooses to." The audience erupted once more. Backstage later, Olivia sat on a folding chair, Her mother wrapped her in a tight hug, sobbing. "You were incredible," her mom whispered. "I always knew, but now the world does too." A knock came at the door. Victor stood there holding a business card. "I don't make offers lightly," he said, "but if you and your family are open to it, I'd like to mentor you. Proper training. No shortcuts. No ego." Olia stared at the card, then up at him. "Why?" she asked. Victor smiled sadly. "Because voices like yours don't come often, and because I almost let my pride silence one." Years later, a clip from that night would circulate online. Millions would watch a young black girl stand alone on stage and sing past mockery, past fear, past limitation. They wouldn't always remember Victor Hale's name, but they would remember Olia Brooks. And the lesson would echo long after the final note faded. Never underestimate someone you try to diminish. Sometimes the very moment meant to break you becomes the stage where your destiny resigns. The world learns to listen.